I hope you guys enjoyed that last clip that I just released of Goku achieving his final form, breaking his limiter after talking to his father Bardock. And you may have some questions. Why did you spoil so much for the final episode? Why and how was he talking to Bardock? There's actually a lot of questions. And so let's talk about this. As you guys know, this is the final episode of Anime War, and if you guys ever had the interest in animating on your own, I've started uploading some tutorials onto my stories on the Amino app. Amino is an app that connects you with other communities, things you're interested in, like Fortnite or Dragon Ball, anime in general, art, learning languages, any kind of community you can think of, there is one for you. And you can talk to other people, you can take quizzes, there's lots of fun things to do. Amino is a great place to meet people. They've overhauled the app, so now you can add engaging stories. So follow me, Mastar Media, and go check out some of my fun new stories that I just posted. Thank you, Amino, for sponsoring. First of all, if you're disappointed because you feel like you've been spoiled, DB Geek,
I feel like I should have waited. I was saying to myself after seeing the title of the video, should I really watch this or should I wait for the full episode?
do not worry. The reason why I released this clip out of anything in the final episode is because this is actually barely anything of a spoiler in comparison to what is actually going to happen in the entire episode, because so much has to happen. So do not fear. Don't feel like you've been spoiled. This is like basically just minor spoilers. And that's why I was okay with releasing this clip. And I actually may do another clip as well, similar to this, of the final episode before the final episode actually gets released, simply because so much has to happen in this final episode that this is actually just a small piece of it. Okay, so the cat's out of the bag. You guys know that Goku and Vegeta are going to fuse, and a lot of people have been speculating, oh, fusion has to be coming because Mastar's been teasing us with that wallpaper on his tablet as he's been doing his videos where he's talking to the camera. And yes, that is true. So Omni Gogeta is coming. Gogeta, not Vegeto. But I want to say this, that what you guys think is going to happen in this episode is probably not going to happen. I'm going to throw you guys for the biggest curveball ever, and I don't want to spoil too much, but just want you to know that something unique is going to happen with Omni Gogeta. If you think that Goku and Vegeta fuse and then they're able to beat Archon, that's not actually what's going to happen. So without spoiling too much, that's what I can say. But yes, we will get a very nice scene of Omni Gogeta being born, like the birth of an actual god. And it's going to be a brilliant, beautiful scene that all the characters are just going to be shocked and amazed and in awe seeing their fusion come to light. Okay, so let's talk about Bardock. So a lot of people had questions about him. First of all, if you guessed that I was going for the Naruto Minato father and son union, that was what I was going for. I wanted to give the feeling that, you know, Goku is meeting his father for the first time. It would be very emotional and all of those things. But the thing is, you know, being honest, Saiyans don't really care too much about their children. They're not like super family oriented like that. I mean, look at Goku, for example. Like, he leaves his family for years at a time. He doesn't really care about Chi-Chi. At the end of Dragon Ball GT, he's like, all right, peace, family. So Bardock, you know, if he's been dead, if he's been watching over Goku all these years, if he's been watching him beat Frieza, yes, maybe that did give him some fondness. Okay, so Bardock is obviously dead, and even though Goku has taken trips to basically hell and, you know, seen the ghosts and everything like that, he's never actually met Bardock. But what I wanted to do is, because this is the Omni form, because it's mysterious, and because it is literally like a piece of God, you know, I wanted to, as I've described before, make the Omni form actually seem like a god. Like in Dragon Ball Super, Goku has god forms, but he doesn't have any godly abilities. He just gets more power. And that's why I gave Goku the ability to restart Vegeta's heart, you know, to like pretty much bring him back to life, to heal himself, give him some sort of godly abilities. And if you're a god, you should be able to speak to the dead, right? So that's pretty much why and how I was able to do this, have Goku talk to Bardock inside of himself. It's just some matter and form of the Omni God ability, being able to speak to the dead. Now, how did Bardock turn into Omni form? It's just fan service. I mean, like, so originally, the reason why I put that in there, In the original script, you guys know that I'm trying to speed Anime War up, like I'm trying to get it done as fast as possible, but I want to get it done good. But in the original script, Bardock was actually supposed to return. Goku was going to use the Omni form, and he was actually going to bring Bardock back to life in Omni form, and he was going to help them fight Omni Broly. So that was actually supposed to be in the original script, episode 8. We were going to have Goku, Bardock, and Vegeta all Omni form fighting Omni Broly for a full episode. But I decided to cut that from the script because it's just more fighting that doesn't really progress the story, and I'm trying to wrap Anime War up. But in the sense that the original script, Omni Bardock was supposed to come, and by the way, this was written years before Dragon Ball Super Broly was even announced, you know, and so that's why I wanted to bring Broly back and Bardock, because you haven't heard of from these characters in years. But now that we've had Dragon Ball Super Broly, I don't know, I didn't feel like it would have that much of an impact anymore, because now there's 2 versions of Broly, you know, there's 2 versions of Bardock pretty much, because a lot of stuff got retconned. So that's why I put Bardock in here, just for this short little cameo. Now, when he like kind of turned into energy and fused into Goku, what was that? Was he fusing? It's definitely not like the Minato Naruto case where there actually was like a piece of chakra of Minato inside Naruto from the whole sealing technique with Kurama. It was more so of just like Goku coming to the realization that his father is with him and watching over him all of this time. And the reason why it took this for Goku to break his limiter, if you remember in Anime War episode 4, Vegeta also had one of these internal moments where he remembered talking to his father. So there's some similarities and some symbolism there if you were able to catch that. So it's pretty nice. Now Goku and Vegeta are pretty much equal. I guess you could say, is Goku or Vegeta stronger right now? In my opinion, without Kaioken, Vegeta is stronger because he's got like the bloodline transformation, but Goku can use Kaioken, so, you know, they're pretty much equal, I would say. Okay, and I want to talk about the Xenoguards versus Archon a little bit. What you guys saw in this last video I did is definitely going to change a lot for the final. In addition, a lot of the scenes that you saw are very like out of order for when it comes to the final episode. Like a lot of the just where they're kind of throwing down scenes, I might even take those out because it's not like very dynamic. My favorite part of the episode is the Omni Guard chop because I animated that myself. But I also think it just turned out great. And also when Archon gets pissed off and, you know, flies up at them and you know, knocks them both away. Those parts were awesome. And I like that because it's more dynamic than just the simple, you know, 2D sparring kind of stuff. And what I want to have is, I don't really like those like flat animations anymore. For the final episode, we're going to have all of these different animators doing like really complex cuts of Sakuga. And I want the battles between the Xenoguards and Archon to all be kind of like that chop. Like everything is very choreographed and different rather than like, you know how Dragon Ball Super, when you had like Goku fighting Kefla or Caulifla, and it's just like that 2D punching stuff. It's just boring. You know, if you remember back when Goku fought like Majin Vegeta and how Yamamuro just did this just phenomenal cuts and choreographed fights between the two of them, it was just stunning and beautiful and visually mesmerizing. That's how I want the action in this final episode to go down. Like the problem is when you have just like the 2D combat like that and they're just kind of scrapping, like there's nothing special about it, right? It's forgettable. But when you have like those unique animations, which just that chop alone is at least 17 redrawn pictures in 1.4 seconds. So obviously, you know, you have like the combat loops like this, and then you have like the dynamic kind of action, the choreographed stuff, which is much, much more complicated, but the end result is just delicious, right? And I want to have a lot of that in the final episode so that it's memorable. I don't want it to have the forgettable combat loops that you see like all too much in Dragon Ball Super. In Dragon Ball Z, it was like a lot of the time it was like the scenes are so memorable because they're so different. Every time that person throws an attack, it's very, very different than the last attack that was thrown. And that's, I mean, I love Dragon Ball Z the most. Out of all Dragon Ball Z was by far my favorite. And that's also why I use Dragon Ball Z coloring for the characters and things like that. I grew up on Dragon Ball Z. That's why I love it. So I know people are still asking, and they're gonna keep asking when the final episode is released, even though I've said like 100 times. But I'm thinking it'll be like November. Most of the animators that are on here I've talked to, and they are currently busy with other projects, and they can't really start till like next month anyway. So, when I find out, as I get closer, I will let you guys know. The November release date is literally just a ballpark estimated release date. As a fan animator without a deadline, you can't just make a deadline for yourself. Like, there's literally no reason to rush yourself like that. Like, it's not like we gave a movie release date and people are going to be at the theaters buying tickets waiting. I'll just release it when the episode is done. So it may not come out till next year. It may come out earlier than that. I honestly don't know. November is just an estimation based on the amount of work that's going to have to go into this thing. So I'm not sure if I'm going to release another clip like this one in between now and November. It really just depends on, and maybe do like a clip of like the combat between the Xeno guards and Archon or something like that. Possibly. I'm really not sure yet. But the point of releasing this clip was to, one, give you a taste of the final episode to kind of satisfy everybody's itch, because I know people have been spamming me like crazy asking, where and when is episode 12. So that was to help you out a little bit and hold you guys over until the final release is out. So I hope I've accomplished that with this video. If you're worried you got spoiled, don't worry, because you don't even know what's coming for the final episode. It's going to really, really blow your minds. The amount of different things that happen, the amount of shocks and surprises you're just gonna be blown away. At least that's the envision that I have in my head. And since it's the final episode, I don't want to rush myself. I want to just take my time myself and give time to the animators that are working on this to just make something completely memorable, because it's 4 years of work. This is the finale. It's got to be way, way better than any other episode has ever been. Okay, guys, that's it for this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll try and get to them, and I'll talk to you guys soon with another video. Awarida!